Madam Speaker, the President of the United States.
You know the name. Come on, man. I know a lot of weed folks. Taking cocaine or not, what do you think? Get up. Americans always get up. That's what we're doing. Get up. Americans always get up. Think about it. Get up. Americans always get up. That's all I'm asking. Get up. Americans always get up. It's us, we the people. We have to do more than just build back better. To build back, we have to build back better. Think about it. I want to speak directly to you because you think about it. There's still more work to do. The sun is setting on American democracy. They look at the image of the mob as proof, but they're wrong. You know it, I know it, but we have to prove them wrong. 100 days ago, America's house was on fire. 100 days ago, one day shy, the 100th day of my administration. Get up. Americans always get up. That's what we're doing. Get up. Americans always get up. Think about it. Get up. Americans always get up. That's all I'm asking. Get up. Americans always get up. It's us, we the people. Folks, as I told every world leader I ever met with over the years, it's never, ever, ever been a good bet to bet against America, and it still isn't. Think about it. We're working again, dreaming again. That's all I'm asking. Think about it. Discovering again, leading the world again. We the people. Because you think about it. 100 days ago, America's house was on fire. 100 days ago, one day shy, the 100th day of my administration. Get up. Americans always get up. That's what we're doing. Get up. Americans always get up. Think about it. Get up. Americans always get up. That's all I'm asking. Get up. Americans always get up. It's us, we the people.
Yep.
Can they hear me?
Yeah, no, they can hear you perfectly.
Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to the Vanguard. For Spike, the original holla back girl Cohen, I am Matt Wright, and together we are traversing the muddied waters of freedom.
Why is it getting worse? Hey, folks, thanks so much for joining us again, and be sure to share this right now, wherever you're watching it or listening to it. Share. I'm going to give up on that. I'm just giving up on that. Share it, and share 60% me, 40% Matt, to your loving audience
like conversation.
God. So now I got to change it. Come and share it. The last thing that you want is for big tech to win one over on you by not showing this fantastic show to all your closest loved ones. Also, be sure to like us, subscribe to us, and comment in the comments if you're watching this live, or even if you're not watching it live and there's a comment function, comment now, just a comment. And again, share. Actually, thank you so much.
Especially if you are not watching this live, comment, because that works out best for us in the algorithms.
Yes, so comment, especially if it's not live.
Right, especially if it's not live. First and foremost, I would like to thank the fantastic and wonderful people at siestacava.com for the cava that I am drinking on today's episode.
And I would like to thank Le Bleu for this. I want to do the thing again where I talk about how much oxygen there is in it, but I'm not going to. For this water, which is a perfect blend of hydrogen and oxygen to make the water. Bulavanaka.
Bulavanaka.
The intro and outro, is it still doing? Yes. The here we go.
Which way do I need to go here?
I just
When
other way. No, the other way. The other way. No, the other way.
Yeah,
there we go. There we go. That other way. Now you're still More of the way you just did. While Matt's figuring that out, this episode, of course, is brought to you by Matt figuring out his camera and the Libertarian Party Waffle House Caucus, the fastest growing waffle-related caucus in this or any other party in the history of the whole world. Go to Libertarian Party Waffle House Caucus, the Facebook group, to become a member today. And if you'd like Libertarian Party Waffle House Caucus stuff and becoming an official voting member, we have never actually voted, but there you go. Go to muddywatersmedia.com/store to get your Waffle House stuff. Gravy King, Nug of Knowledge. Nug of Knowledge is not like your usual CBD supplier because they sell weed. And the part of the proceeds from the sale go to help end the war on drugs. They also have a compassionate use program where they give out their weed to people who can't afford it, like veterans and people with disabilities. Many people who use their weed say that it does what weed does. And that's really good because that's what happens when you buy weed. So if you want to buy some weed on the internet, nugofknowledge.com, and be sure to use checkout code SPIKE, SPIKE, for 10% off your weed. Speaking of weed, Joe Soloski for Pennsylvania governor. Joe Soloski is the key to Pennsylvania success. And if you want to help Joe in his run to legalize weed and many other things in Pennsylvania, then go to Joe Soloski, that's JoeSoloski.com today. And then also, of course, Mud Water, the most appropriately named product that we'll ever sell because it's literally called what our show is. Mud Water. If you woke up today and said, man, I am sick of coffee, I want to drink masala chai, cacao, mushrooms, turmeric, which has curcumin in it, turmeric, sea salt, cinnamon, and that's literally all I want to drink right now. Well, friends, I have a fantastic bit of news for you. Go to muddywatersmedia.com/mud and you can buy exactly all that crap all mixed together. It's really good. It's not terrible. It is not terrible. Speaking of not terrible, Jack Casey, author of The Royal Green and Silver Throned. The Royal Green, of course, is about a ring that vomits on you. And then Silver Throned is about this butterfly that's going to kill you.
Nice saber scalpel thing.
With a snake around it, and it's got lady eyes.
Right.
And if you think that's amazing, later on in the summer, a third book called Crowned by Gold is coming out. That is about how the ring and the butterfly have a baby.
I think that he should name it Crowned by Mud.
Yes.
Because if he calls it Crowned by Mud, he will be doing that because of all of the fans that are buying his book right now.
So, folks, if you want his next book to be renamed Crowned by Mud, be sure to go to theroyalgreen.com to purchase both of these books. And is he taking pre-orders yet, or is he just letting people know?
I don't know. Yeah. Where you might be able to pre-order Crowned
You
by
may. If you
Mud.
reach out to him, he might take your money even before he gives you anything.
Right.
So be sure to tune in to that. And then, of course, personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds, attorney at law. If you want to sue someone, then, hey, great news. Chris Reynolds can do that legally as an attorney. In Florida, but only in Florida. But only if you're personally injured. I mean, technically he can sue for any reason, but he's probably only going to want to sue if you have a legitimate reason to do so. I don't want to speak on his behalf, but I doubt he wants to waste his time with your frivolous nonsense. So if you have been legitimately injured personally by another human being or corporation, because those are people too, in Florida, then contact personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds, attorney at law, by going to chrisreynoldslaw.com. Matt.
Yep. So, thank you all for tuning in for this very special episode of the Muddied Waters of Freedom and Muddied Waters Media. Today, we have a very special guest on. He is currently
Currently.
Running for Congress in Congressional District 1 in New Mexico. Please welcome with me and with Spike for the very first time on the Muddied Waters of Freedom, the one, the only, Mr. Chris Manning.
Chris, thanks so much for coming on.
Well, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate you giving me the invite.
Absolutely. Now, before we get started, you're running for this congressional district, but you are a libertarian. Tell us a little bit about that. What everyone has their genesis story as to what made them a libertarian. Was it an aha moment, sort of a gradual evolution over time? What brought this beautiful man, Chris Manning, in front of us today? Tell us the Chris Manning story.
Yeah, it's like starting off every Alcoholics Anonymous, meeting where
Yes.
you gotta say how you found liberty. So I'm a history nerd, and so early in school and in high school, I took to the George Washington ideal of not joining any parties. And when I could register to vote, I registered as an independent, a declined estate here in New Mexico.
Right.
And I was there, and I would, more conservative leaning. I grew up in a traditionally Republican household, so I was a little bit more conservative. And then joined the military, spent my time in Afghanistan, and came back. And in 2012, or when I left the military, I left a lot to do with Barack Obama and the assassination of American citizens overseas.
Right.
And that was really kind of my awakening. And I started becoming a lot more, I'd say, skeptical of the federal government and particularly our forever wars. And in 2016, I decided I wanted to be more involved. As great as the ideal of being an independent is, the truth of the matter is, if you want to make change, you have to be part of a party, or else be a billionaire. And I'm not a billionaire, so I decided to go with the party.
Yet.
So I finally decided I wanted to get involved more in politics. Gary Johnson was running for the presidential nomination that year. Being from New Mexico, obviously, I had some knowledge of him, and I really started investigating the Libertarian Party and found that my ideals really aligned with them. And I jumped in feet first, and went to the state convention, and I've been an active member within the Libertarian Party since. I ran for Congress in 2018. And up in CD3. So this is my second attempt at it, and hopefully it goes a little bit better. Have a little bit of understanding of the process now. So that was kind of my conversion to the Libertarian Party, and I'm loving it. So it's a good time.
So real quick, about your 2018 race, you said that you hoped this one goes a little bit better. What happened in 2018?
Actually, it wasn't bad considering the fact that I had $0.
Yes.
Half of the money spent came out of my own pocket, which
understand.
Yeah. So I make less than, at that time I was making less than $60,000 a year, so I don't have a lot of my own money to throw in. But I actually did okay. I finished at over 5%, and that was without hardly any earned media. We didn't have a debate. So there was hardly anything. It was just me going to doors and knocking on doors myself and handing out yard signs. And that was the basis of my campaign. So
that's what got you 5%?
Yeah, I had the second highest vote total of anyone running at the federal level.
Right.
Behind one other person in Nebraska who got me by a couple tenths of a percent.
And you got that by just knocking on doors.
I knocked on doors. I had yard signs, and basically I would make a Facebook post because I didn't have a staff. There was no media marketing, nothing of that. I made this post and I spent a couple extra dollars to send it out through Facebook, and that was the entirety of my campaign.
Wow. So, do you think that the reason that maybe that you got to the 5% was because Gary Johnson was from New Mexico and more people had probably heard of libertarianism, so they already had some sort of understanding of the ideals?
Yeah, I think in New Mexico, it's honestly one of the most ripe states in the nation for libertarians. and that does has a lot to do with Gary Johnson, but also we've done a fairly decent job since then, being active in
Right.
the elections. We're putting up more and more candidates each election. So that was good, but I mean, it was 2 years after the Johnson election, so there would have been some fall off, but yeah, almost everyone who
Right.
ran got more than 5% in New Mexico.
Wow.
That is pretty impressive.
That's
and
really impressive.
And it goes
That's
to
really
show,
impressive.
coming around the next time, you're going to be able to, have an actual budget and spend more money and be able to do some actual marketing and things like that. You're definitely gonna it sounds like you're probably gonna break into double digits at that rate.
Hopefully, I mean, I've had far more earned media. I've had more than 30 articles, and I was invited to 2 out of the 3 televised debates. So 2 out of the 3 stations that ran a debate invited me in. So it's gone well. I would have
That's
to say my
awesome.
name recognition is going to be far higher than it was then, and I'm getting a lot more. I actually have some staff. I have some volunteers. I have somebody doing my media marketing. I have actual people in place. We're getting a lot more volunteers to go knock doors. So there's a lot more infrastructure in this special election, which is 8 weeks long, than what I had in the entirety of my year-long campaign.
And you're going to be in those debates, which is going to be absolutely huge. Now, what are some of the things that you're running on? What are your main things that you're putting out there as your campaign message?
So my biggest area has been health insurance reform, and it's not something that's a typical, I'd say, typical libertarian platform. But I've spent the last couple of years really trying to craft a reform to our health insurance system that I say is unique uh, to politics today, and a lot of people have responded to it. Obviously, I'm a very big advocate of ending all of our federal wars. In the debates, I'm talking about the decriminalization of all drugs, and it's amazing to see how many people, when I talk about Portugal's success story, they kind of stop and go, huh. And then, of course, immigration and asylum reform. So those have been 4 of the main tenets. And then I also talk a lot about education, because that's a New Mexico issue, with us being one of I'd say, the poorest public education states in the nation. So that's kind of a more local issue, but it's also something I've hit a lot.
That is awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've noticed the same thing when I've talked about ending the war on drugs on in any kind of platform, national platform, podcasting or whatever, outside of libertarian circles. The immediate response is often, yeah, but what are you going to do about all the people doing drugs? And I'm like, well, that's happening now. And all the cartels, all the things that you're worried are going to happen if we make drugs legal, that or even decriminalize them, are happening right now as we speak. And so that clearly hasn't worked. And we can look at other countries, and Portugal's the best example, where they had a terrible crisis, even worse per capita than ours was. They decriminalized, and now they have some of the lowest rates of addiction and overdose in Europe. So yeah, that's exactly how it's going to work when we do that, and it's going to be even more extreme when we do it, because the main buyer of drugs on the planet, without any competition, is the United States, and to a lesser extent Canada. So that North American market, and it's being supplied by these cartels that would be destroyed if we were no longer having them as the main source of the drugs that people are buying here.
Yeah, and obviously being a border state in New Mexico, we get the immigration question a lot. And so
Yep.
when I come at them with the solution, I say, okay, well, what's the driver of both people and drugs across the border? One,
Yep.
our asylum process requires you to be at the border or port of entry in order to apply for asylum. So my solution, I always tell people, is, okay, so why don't we just say you can apply for asylum in your home country? Now you've eliminated that driver. 2, the increase of legal immigration. And it's surprising to me when you go, okay, look, this is how many people we have wanting to come to this country right now, and this is how many we actually let in. And even those who are, I'd say, anti-immigrant and more of a right-leaning basis, and you say,
Right.
well, what if we allowed them to come through the process legally? and we increase it. And now what happens? Okay, now another driver of border illegal crossings is reduced.
Right.
What do you have? You have exactly what you want. Less people coming across the border. And you have more law and order, right? You've got organized immigration, which is really what people want. When you really sit down and talk to people, that's really what they want.
And it's gotten rid of the whole purpose of the cartels. If there's now a legal process that these folks can come here, if it's not just, I mean, the legal process for most of these people that are coming from Central and South America is no, you are not eligible under any of our criteria. You don't have the money to do it. You don't have anyone sponsoring you for skilled labor, and you don't have any immediate, once removed relatives or without removed relatives that are sponsoring you. So no. There is no process. You just can't come here. And if you want to seek asylum, you got to come to the border, and we're going to put you in a camp while we figure out what to do with you. That's everything that everyone doesn't want. Well, Democrats are okay with it now that Joe Biden's president because no one's telling them it's still happening. But everyone else, and especially people in New Mexico, where they're seeing it firsthand and are experiencing the side effects of so many of the people coming illegally through coyotes and how that's empowering smuggling of other things like drugs and also leading to all the corruption that comes from all the smuggling that's happening and paying off officers and border patrol agents and politicians and everything else. Like New Mexico is at the front line of that. So I think it's fantastic what you're running on.
So, and it's amazing. And I also, when I make that argument, I talk about, well, also, if we do these changes to policy, what happens to the money that is being funneled for all this human smuggling across Mexico? Well, now we've just turned off a lot of their cash spigot, right? And then also when you decriminalize the drugs, you just eliminate the black market. Where are they going to get their billions of dollars? And there you go. And that's going to be far more effective than ever sending, the DEA and ATF down to Mexico to try and take on the cartels who have their own armies.
Yeah, no, that's
right.
You've
Absolutely.
nailed it. You've nailed it.
Absolutely.
So, no, go ahead, Matt.
So, this is a special election, right?
It is.
Okay, so when is the actual election date for this one?
So the election is June 1st, and early voting has already started for us.
Okay, so June 1st, early voting's already started. I know that there are people here that are watching this and will be watching this and listening to it over the next few days that want to know how they can help you. This is something that people got to jump on immediately because this is less than a month away. Early voting's already started. It's about 3 weeks away. How can people help you? How can they reach out to you? How can they get in touch with you to be able to help you in this run for Congress?
And so the best way is to go to our website, and that is manning4nm.com. And that's the number 4, and join the rebellion. So we had our first debate on May the 4th, so I decided to have a little bit of fun, and we kind of switched the campaign around, and we went with the Star Wars theme, and we kind of just running with it. So join the rebellion, defeat the 2 Empire candidates, and be part of history. And who doesn't want to be part of history and overthrow the evil empire?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I often there's a meme out there, and everybody's saying like in Star Wars everybody's rooting for the rebellion, but in real life they're rooting for the Empire, and that is exceptionally accurate because it just seems like no matter what, people are like rooting for the Republicans or Democrats, not realizing they're two sides of the same Empire coin, and one's like Palpatine and the other's Vader. Like you're not really rooting for anybody good in this scenario. So if you want to join the rebellion, I always say vote for the Libertarian, but vote third party because that's where the rebellion is. Yeah. That is where the rebellion is. If you vote for the lesser candidates, that's the things that are going to overthrow the empire that you are saying you're against.
Yeah,
I like that. We're going to call them lesser candidates now because the whole thing is, oh, I'm voting for a lesser evil. Okay, fine. Then vote for the lesser candidate who's also evil, or you could vote for us. So before we let you go, Chris, any final message you want to give to folks? Obviously, the Manning4nm.com to reach out to you, or Manning on Twitter, Manning4US Kong, C-O-N-G.
Yeah.
But any final message you want to give while you're here?
I just want to tell people, if you are liberty curious, you need to come in and join the Libertarian Party and come check us out. And I've run the campaign, and this is something that I've made a conscious effort to do, is make it a positive, good campaign. And so I have been getting emails, because you can actually contact me through the website. I have a contact the candidate button. And if you can send me an email, and I have read every single email that I have received so far, and it kind of helps keep me grounded. But I'm getting emails from lifelong Democrats, lifelong Republicans, who are just like, hey, I saw your debate, or I've read your website and I like what you have to say. And it is amazing to see how many people from all political spectrums are starting to wake up. And we had, like I said, I have a staffer on the New Mexico GOP. I won't reveal his name. I promise to give him anonymity. But basically, he's giving me input onto how many members of the GOP and the Democrat Party that he works with at the State House who are secretly going to vote for me. So what I need people to stop making it a secret and just come out and say that you're going to vote for me and help us out, because we have a legitimate shot here in New Mexico. It's a special election. You never know what's going to happen. Pull that lever. See what happens. You'll be amazed at the difference in Congress when you elect somebody who isn't part of the Republican and Democratic Party.
I like it. Don't be a shy Chris voter. Be an out in everyone's face Chris voter.
Out of the closet.
Out of the closet.
Show your Liberty flag.
Be an uncloseted out Chris voter, even if you're only Liberty curious. Chris, thanks so much for coming on. We really appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much. You guys have a great night.
You too. Thank you.
So that's awesome. Yeah, I 5%, and he had a budget of he had a budget of nothing, and he's knocking on doors and getting I love it. I love it. That's the kind of stuff I like to hear. By the way, anyone who's considering running for office as a libertarian, knock on doors, knock on doors, knock on doors, knock on doors.
The most amazing way to get your name out there is going door to door.
Who is it? It's Liberty. Knock on doors. Knock on doors. So, folks, we're going to have a brief intermission while Matt and I switch over from Skype, because we hate it. We hate Skype so much. Oh, my God, we hate Skype. Hate Skype. Hate Skype. We hate it. So we're going to switch to Zoom, which is so much better. But we have to use Skype because it's the only way that we're able to have another guest and do all our stuff with the video. And I wish Zoom would let us do that with them. I hate Skype so much. So we'll be right back.
Try different things out, but we haven't done it yet. But one day we will, and we will.
One day, Skype is
just
done.
Out of our lives forever.
Just out. Well, not for me. I have to use Skype for Kennedy, and I wish they wouldn't, because I hate Skype.
Hang on. Let me pick up that name you just dropped.
Sorry. Well, and also on RT when they have me on RT, but whatever. That's not really a name. Just letters. So, folks, we will be right back. And here is a brief intermission.
We walked up into the field. We crawled up out of the ocean. Vast machines with crowded up gear.
Minus 10, 9,
Volcanic
8,
granite
7,
buzzing
6,
with me.
5, we have program ready to
We
start.
walked up
2,
into the
1,
field.
0. Booster ignition and
Carried
lift off.
you low in our belly. Sometimes a day seems to tick on for years. Sometimes the sun sets a little bit early. We walked up into the field. We gathered around and around and around. Some places are graves that just haven't been dug yet. Some places are churches that haven't been found. We walked up into the field. We carried you high on our shoulders. Some plots are reserved from the beginning of time. Some feel a little bit old. I've tried so hard not to finish this song, but here we are.
Wow.
Is that the
I
first time
hadn't
you saw
actually
that?
watched that. Yeah, though I hadn't actually watched that yet. There's a lot of things happening there. Oh, that's not even remotely.
I mean, that is, man, the zoom on Zoom, and what are we on? Zoom? Yeah, we're on
That's
Zoom.
why they call it
The
Zoom.
Yeah, the zoom on Zoom is much different than the zoom on.
That's another reason I hate Skype.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so many reasons.
There's just
So many reasons to hate
so
Skype.
many different reasons
The
to hate Skype.
only
But I'll say,
thing, there's one thing that I respect Skype, not you. My video quality, mine on
Yes.
guy on is
Yes.
so much better, but
Yes.
everything else sucks.
Yep. Everything else sucks. If Zoom can do two things real quick, because I know Zoom watches this as an entity. If Zoom could do two things, give us the same audio or video that we're getting from Skype, and also let us have where we can bring in different NDI feeds, that's what it's called, from different videos for our show, then you'll be the best thing ever. And we will never have to use Skype again. So that's up to you. That's up to you.
And for everybody who is saying that they liked that video, thank you. I spent all weekend on that. But also the song is, I don't remember what the song's called, but the band is the Narcissist Cookbook.
I was going to say that's Narcissist Cookbook, right?
Yeah. And the album that's on is called Hymn, like Hymn. And that album is so incredibly heart-wrenchingly good. I have never lost a parent. I mean, I have in like a store, but found them. But I've never like lost a parent, and that entire album is about like his dad's death, and even it spoke to me on a soul level. And if you like what you've heard from him at the beginning of my show and in that song, check out that album.
Yeah, that's a really good song, and that intermission was pretty badass. And I did see the Waffle House.
Did you notice what it said when the Waffle House thing came up?
No, I didn't see that part.
So what he is saying at the moment that Waffle House is on screen is churches that haven't been discovered.
Wow. Which is what Waffle House is. It's a church with eggs.
It's a church,
and
right?
waffles.
It's a church that hasn't been discovered yet.
That's beautiful. That's
right.
way more beautiful for this show. But I'll tell you what is also beautiful and possibly too much for this show. And that is the Black Cold Brewed Caffeinated Rapid Fire segment, brought to you by Black Cold Brewed Organic Coffee, the most delicious cold brewed organic coffee to ever be horrifically misspelled. If you want to buy some Black BLVCK, because what the hell, who cares anymore? Anything can be spelled however you want. Nothing matters. If you go to Black Brews, BLVCKBrews.com, you can get the most delicious coffee that's ever not been hot. In case you don't want to go straight to the mud water, you can do a intermittent step between hot coffee and mud water, and do cold misspelled coffee. And so go to Black Brews, BLVCKBrews.com, and use code MW to get free shipping. Matt?
Yes. So that is.
Oh, and Matt, I'm going to go ahead and let you know, you're going to not hear the audio from the videos for the first couple seconds.
Oh, okay.
So that you don't go, what's going on? Why is they can hear it?
Why does this not work?
Why is this happening? But they can hear it. And then a couple seconds later, you'll be able to hear it. So I'm just putting that out there now.
Thank you for that tip, Jacob. I appreciate it. I'm not changing it though. But so Bill Gates, he's going through some stuff right now.
He's going through a thing.
Yeah, he's going through a thing. And while we're not going to really touch on the divorce because I don't care, not even a little bit, he has a biography that's coming out, and the biographer has stated that old Bill back in his 1990s heyday, was a bit of a man whore. That's not his term. That's my term.
Wow.
Was a bit of a man whore who liked to, this is his words, visit one of Seattle's all nude nightclubs and hire dancers to come to his home and swim naked with his friends in his indoor pool. So Bill Gates enjoyed throwing naked parties with him and the rest of that Microsoft team. And
That's a sight.
can you imagine naked Bill Gates dancing with strippers along with his Microsoft team? Imagine this, but with no clothes. And you guys get this joyful experience because that was the first thing I thought of the moment that I read that article.
that was them. That was literally the people that would have been dancing with the strippers.
That would have been the people.
So just add some strippers in there, and now you got a real thing going.
Now you got and take.
Now was this before he was married to Melinda?
Yeah,
that this was happening.
Right, because he's been married to Melinda for 25 years, so this would have been like right before all of that was going on.
So then, what's the problem? The guy's a billionaire. He would have been what in his like 30s, late 30s, or like he'd like our age right now, and he's a billionaire and single. And people are going to get upset that he hired strippers with what was the equivalent of pocket change to him.
Not even, well, at least for me, not even a little upset. I was upset that I had the mental image that I had to share it with everybody.
Yes, this is what I'm angry about. I'm angry that he did this.
Do you know what song they're actually dancing to in this video?
No.
Oh God, the Rolling Stones. Light It Up.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You can tell.
No, you can't. not if the music is playing with it. It is so bad.
That's I hope the strippers got paid well. So speaking,
J. Adam Legs asked for somebody to make a deep fake of Bill Gates and the strippers naked dancing.
I will give you the $5 that Adam just gave us if you make that. I'm not going to make that.
No, I'm not making that.
I'm not making that. So one of y'all can make.
Completely off topic. Apparently, superfan Sarah Anderegg decided to go for a little walk and take the dog with her, on a walkie, as one does. And she just had to kick a coyote in the face because it tried to take the dog.
A coyote?
Yeah, we have them all over here.
In the Tampa Bay area?
Oh, yeah, big time.
That's something I learned new today. I would have never guessed that coyotes would be big. Well, I'm glad that both Sarah's a very hardy Jew. That
is not a term I would use to call her ever.
I will. She's kicking wild animals and she's, felling cows. This is an incredible person.
She's like a super. She's a Jew.
Basically, like an agricultural Semitic superhero.
Superhero, yeah.
A superhero.
A superhero.
Wonder Farm Jew. I hope she doesn't see this. Because I'm pretty sure she could actually physically harm me. So speaking of Jews and farms, after the abysmal job number in the April jobs report, Biden has now kind of changed his tone a little bit and said, we're going to make it clear to anyone collecting unemployment who is offered a suitable job that they must take the job or lose their unemployment benefits.
Which I feel like either way, you're losing your unemployment benefits.
Oh.
If you take the job,
you're lose your unemployment benefits.
So take the job, like you have to take a job now.
Okay. And he's going to do this by
so it's Joe Biden.
Mm-hmm.
So he is going to be expanding the state's reemployment services and beginning to distribute $350 billion in aid to state and local governments as part of the $1.9 trillion coronavirus relief law passed earlier this year, which
Right.
makes me wonder, why wasn't it already dispersed?
Yeah.
But when faced with the opportunity to end, so earlier this week, the Republicans said, hey, let's end this $300 a week so people will go back to work, because that's the reason people are staying home. And he came out and he said, that's unfounded. There is no proof that the reason people are staying home is because they're getting paid $300 a week from the federal government, plus whatever they're getting in their state unemployment. There's no evidence of this. Americans want to work, and they just need better jobs.
There's no founding that it's unfounded to think that there are Americans who are choosing to stay home because they're making more money staying home than by working, and it keeps getting extended. So why would they work when they can stay home, especially when they're still in a pandemic, and especially there are still a large number of Americans who think that if you get COVID, you are almost certain to end up in a hospital with it. I wonder why they stay home and make more money and, in their minds, be far less likely to go to the hospital. Why on earth would that happen? That wouldn't happen. So I want us to take a step back here, and I actually tweeted about this yesterday. You got Republicans and Democrats arguing over this, over if people, if people are lazy, or if it's that they're staying home because they're making more money, or if that's a good way to restart the economy, or if it's a good way to waste money and drive up the cost of things and reduce the availability of things because people have to work to make things, which is part of why there's a shortage of things all of a sudden. Well, not the oil, but we'll be talking about that later. But that's why, when Ben Shapiro went into Home Depot, he could only afford one board of wood. It's because it's gotten so expensive. And part of why it's gotten so expensive is so many people that are working or were working aren't working. Because, again, why would they work? Now, what's getting lost in all of this, in this attempt by many in media to either demonize the employers or demonize the workers, is to recognize that it's neither of their fault. The reality is the vast majority of people are wage slaves because their money has been robbed of 98% of its value over the past several generations. I said this many times on the campaign trail. I still routinely say it. Imagine if your money was worth 50 times what it is right now. Imagine if your parents' money and their parents' money had been worth 50 times what it is right now. Imagine how much more you could buy with the money that you have. Imagine how much more you could invest because you're not having to spend every penny that you have on just the things that you need, so that you can actually compound that into even more money. Imagine how you could buy houses, how you could buy real estate, how you could buy investments, how you could buy things that gain in value over time so that you're not having to be reliant on others for your housing. Imagine if your parents and their parents and their parents had had that kind of money to walk around with and been able to build up a financial legacy so that you're in an even better financial situation right now than you would have been starting with without it. Imagine how many more people would be better off. I don't even want to look at the comments. Imagine how many better people would be better off if the Federal Reserve didn't exist, and if all of the bad policies from government that led to the complete obliteration of the value of the currency that they make you use hadn't been happen, if we didn't have this monopoly money system that we have right now. And until we talk about that, the actual reason why more and more people can't afford to get by, then we're never going to get anywhere. If we're continuing to do this scapegoat routine between employers and employees, the employers who are just trying to keep their margins and be able to compete with other companies, including companies in other countries, and the employees who are just trying to frickin' pay their bills, if we stop demonizing them and stop letting them, pick which side you're on, and recognize that they're both on the side that got screwed by this system of central banking, then we can actually get somewhere. What do these comments say? Let me look at it.
Jack Casey said, imagine how many fantasy novels you could buy.
Yes.
Jack
Yes.
Casey in the comments, the author of the Royal Green and the other one, that one,
Silver Throned, and then
and then
Crowned
the
by Gold coming soon.
Crowned by Mud.
Crowned by Mud. Sorry, guys. If you buy, and I'm going to say it right now, if y'all buy 1,000 copies of this book, Jack Casey is going to change it to Crowned by Mud. I don't know if that's true. But
I have many a conversation with Jack Casey over on MeWe, and he has not said that wouldn't happen. I actually have a Royal Green Silver Throne with the Muddied Waters logo on it, and I just haven't put it into the show notes files yet.
Crowned by Mud, summer 2021.
That's right, Crowned by Mud.
In fact, he says if for 1,000 copies, he will strip for Bill Gates. So here is future footage from summer 2021 of Bill Gates dancing with Jack Casey. It's a beautiful thing.
So something I read earlier today, $17 million in 1973. How much do you think that's worth now?
Like 50 grand. No. 500 grand.
Let me rephrase that.
Okay.
What would that be equivalent to today?
Oh, what would it be equivalent to today?
Yeah, sorry.
Gosh.
I phrased that wrong. What would that be equivalent to today?
What would that be equivalent to today? Gosh, 100 million? 50 million?
Man, you nailed it. 100 million.
100 million? Yeah.
17 million, 1973. That's 48 years ago. 100 million today.
Wow. This is...
It's not a problem with prices. It's a problem with the money.
Yeah, it's the money is the problem. And people go, oh, but, how do they make us use the money? Well, they make you use the money because in order to pay your taxes that they say that you owe them, you have to pay them in US dollars. Well,
right.
They don't care how you got paid. You have to pay your taxes, not just your income taxes, but your property taxes. You have to collect the sales taxes. You have to any kind of tariffs, any kind of taxes that are paid to the government, any kind of fees, taxes, licensing, anything else have to be paid in US dollars. That is the law. At the federal, state, and local level, it has to be paid in US dollars, which means that you either have to do the transaction in US dollars or you have to convert it into US dollars, which is not very efficient. If you've done everything by barter and then you have to report that, and now you have to figure out a way to sell off some of the stuff that you bartered for and convert it to US dollars, you're getting screwed over there. And you're still being affected by the inflation because they're telling you that you have to use this currency in order to be able to weigh against the value of the things that you're trading, right? And most everyone else is still doing it, so you just do it too. If the U.S. government, one of the ways that people have said, how could you end the Fed? There are many ways that a president could end the Fed. One is to simply stop to order the U.S. Treasury to stop making deposits into the Federal Reserve, which is what President Jackson did with the second bank of the U.S. And caused it to crash instantly. But another thing is the president could just order the IRS to accept other forms of payment. You did that, it would take a little bit longer, but if you did that within a generation, the Federal Reserve would crumble on its own because people would say, wait, I don't have to use US dollars? And it's not going to be an instant thing. Everyone goes outside, I'm using Dogecoin to buy cookies. It's going to be like a long-term thing, but it's going to start with the major companies going, wait a second, we can use Bitcoin? We could do all of our transactions, all of our financial transactions in Ethereum and Dogecoin and whatever. It's that would eventually lead to I hate that. And I'm up like 200% with it, but God, guys, it's a meme.
It's a meme.
It's a meme.
It's a meme being
meme.
pushed by Elon. So it's
Very well too. I hope he's sitting on a lot. I hope he is pumping it because my goodness, is he pushing that stuff?
He's gonna like fund an entire thing with Dogecoin, like sending something to the moon with Dogecoin or something.
He's gonna send them.
Good on him. Like,
I
mean, not for his SNL thing, but good on him for all the other stuff that he's able to do. That SNL appearance was terrible.
If he is able to, well, I mean, all they had was a Dogecoin joke. If he was going to, the fact that he can, with a couple of tweets, can take a coin that the developers of it said it was a joke, and turn it into the fourth largest cryptocurrency by market cap, and have it instantly have a higher market cap than like 150 of the Fortune 200 that is incredible. That is just, wow. That's power. And to use it for that, that's just, Speaking of misuse of power, on Sunday, Dr. Anthony Fauci said that masks decrease respiratory diseases, and that's what led to our non-existent flu season last year. Matt?
Yeah, so it's a quick sidebar. If anybody out there has seen the new show on, I think it's on Fox. It's got to be on Fox. There's no other channel that would pick this up, called Let's Be Real. I don't know who does the impressions on that show, but that Fauci impression is on point. Like, I am going to watch that show to learn how to do a Fauci impression.
It is on Fox. You nailed that.
Yeah. It's a bunch of puppets. It's a bunch of puppets, and the person, whoever is doing the impressions, is spot on. But they had Fauci on there as Baby Yoda, and God, that was funny. He's like, "Are you gonna save me? You gotta wash your hands first. Don't touch me." It's hilarious. They had Andrew Cuomo on there talking about social distancing in New York, and he's like, "You need to stay 6 feet away from me." So anyway, so yeah, what Fauci said. Masks were the reason there wasn't a Fauci.
It's me, Anthony Fauci.
It's me, Anthony Fauci. Woo!
Let's go.
But if we take a look at this chart with the World Health Organization data, we can see that the number of flu cases that were being reported were at the highest when they were saying, don't buy masks. Masks don't work. No specific evidence to suggest wearing of masks has any potential benefit. And then when it was pretty much gone was when Fauci recommended wearing face coverings for COVID. And then a year or so later, he's saying wearing masks made flu non-existent. And again, this comes from the WHO.
And keep in mind, this is actually more extreme than this, because any effect that mask wearing would have, or lockdowns would have, or anything else would have in theory, it takes 2 weeks, at least 2 to 3 weeks, to see that, and up to 20 days to see the results, because the incubation period of COVID is up to 2 weeks. So if this were the case, then all these things that you're seeing is, stop buying masks don't work, no specific evidence to suggest, and that would be as it was peaking. That would be going up the peak, and then you would see, at the peak, they recommend face coverings, and then maybe it peaks a little bit higher than that, and then starts to go down. This is the exact opposite of that.
Yep. Yeah. So I don't know if you saw Rand Paul and Fauci get into it today or yesterday.
I didn't.
Yeah, they went back and forth. And while Rand Paul is not a libertarian, and this is a man that I've had in my car multiple times, by the way.
Yes. No, I know. Yes.
He's not a libertarian.
But I'm name dropping Rand
Yeah.
Paul, who incidentally I've had in my car many times, and he liked my shoes.
No, that was Thomas Massey.
Oh,
You brought it up. That's not name dropping.
no, that's true. No, I brought that.
That's correcting.
That is, you were just correcting me. Yeah.
And he's a bit intolerable when he speaks, but when he is arguing with Anthony Fauci, I find him to be like soothing. I really do. Like they'll go back and forth, and I'm like, man, normally I kind of can see why people, oh, that would have not been a good. I can see why people don't like Rand Paul.
Yes, let's say that.
Yeah,
Let's say it that way, Matt.
I can see that. And I was like, I can see why people don't like Rand Paul. But when he's arguing with Anthony Fauci, I'm like, man, Fauci is really the one with the punchable face.
Wow. And kidneys. So, folks, it's time, of course,
I
now.
haven't listened to any of these.
It's time, of course, now. That's good. That's going to just coming off of that. That's perfect. It's time now for the personal injury attorney, Chris Reynolds, attorney at law, anchor call-in moment, where you can go to anchor.fm/muddied waters right now, actually, or anytime that you want to. And you can leave us questions for us to play right here on the thing that I just said, on the personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds anchor call-in line, attorney at law, whatever. And you can leave us messages, and we will play them right here during this segment every week, or sometimes, because it's been a couple of weeks. And also, you can donate money to us right there at the same location. There's a thing to fill out to donate money, and you do not have to donate money for us to answer your questions, but we will like you more. And in fact, we're going to go ahead and read off the names of our sponsors here. We've got Justin Mickelson, Zachary Martin, Tim Poland, Joshua McHose, Selena Stewart, Kenneth Ebel, Sean Sparkman, James E. Lee, Dan Faust, Jennifer Morrison, Jack Casey, Jeff DePoy, Andrea O'Donnell, Christopher Reynolds, Kenneth Ebel again, Meg Jones, and Billy Pierce for Texas. Thank you guys so much for your support of Muddy Waters. It is your support that allows us to do this with our significant others yelling at us about how we don't make any money doing this.
That's fair, they do.
You're
absolutely fair. I don't know why
you're dating a farm Jew.
I'm dating a farm Jew who wants many acres one day. And I'm like, baby, you see how much money is in the anchor.fm account.
Of Jewish farmland. Help Matt start the kibbutz farm of Sarah's dreams by becoming a member of the Mud Club today. We're going to name that something else. The Mud Club. So here are the club.
I thought you were making a terrible Steven Crowder pun because he has Mug Club.
No.
Yeah,
Nope.
I was like,
Just the Mud Club.
Yeah.
So, folks, here is our first question from the amazing, I believe, Josh McHose.
Hey, Matt and Spike. I just wanted to ask Spike, it's Josh McCose here, if you had eaten all the salmon I gave you yet, or
Oh, yeah.
are you
yes.
like rationing yourself?
Yep. Nope.
Like because it's so good, so that you don't eat it all in
Nope.
like a week.
No, most of it was gone before we even left Alaska, Josh. So I ate what you cooked, like, immediately. I ate almost all of it in front of the poor man, and then I had a little bit left because I didn't want to seem like an absolute pig because he made a freaking, like, giant slab. It's like a pound of salmon, and I'm like, oh, I could eat a little bit before we do this thing that it was like the evening event that night, and let me just a little bit here, and I just ate like almost all of it. I'm like, I'll save a little bit for later. I don't want to get myself too stuffed. And then I went home, back to the hotel room from the event like that immediately. Then the smoked salmon, 100% did not make it out of Alaska. I ate that, I think, the following day. Along with most of the other smoked salmon that I was given. Because, as I have said, I am best described as a salmon addict. It's not just food. I am actually having an unhealthy amount of eating with it, and I also obsess about it and have both physical and emotional withdrawals when I don't have any. So
just so everybody knows, salmon is to Spike as crack is to Hunter Biden.
Wow. That's accurate. Well, as crack is to most people, clearly. Actually, there will one day they'll find a laptop and it's just photos of me eating salmon naked.
In a bathtub.
In a bathtub. So I can't wait. So then, but then Joshua also got me a few, I don't know, slabs, fillets, sides, whatever, of salmon to take home that were frozen. That did get home because I didn't have an oven at the hotel, or else I would have eaten that there too. We got like 30 pounds.
Grab a lighter.
Just need a little bit, and
cook it right there.
Yeah, basically, and shove it, put it on a little spoon. And so I might try that actually, but next time I'm in a hotel. But that might work. That might work. Anyway, so we brought home like 30 some odd pounds. We weighed it. It was like over 30 pounds of raw salmon that people gave us. It's frozen salmon, and all of them had fished it themselves. I love Alaska. Anyway, so we actually had to empty one of our suitcases and put all the stuff from that luggage into the other bags so that we could shove it all in there with ice packs, and it made it home frozen. I have now eaten all of that. That's all gone now.
That was in March, right?
Yep. Nope. April. It was less than a month ago.
Was it in April? I thought it was in March.
April 17th.
That's not bad. That's 2 months. Like,
nope, it was less than a month, and it's been a few days. I eat pounds of salmon a day. So here's the next one from Brian Cleary.
Hey, Spike. Hey, Matt. Just a real quick question I have for you all. Given what we have found out about the Chauvin trial and Maxine Waters' comments that were made yesterday, do you believe that we should hold Maxine Waters to the same standard that we held Donald Trump to with inciting riots and such? I know that it's just words and people have the right to speak their mind and so on. But is it not hypocritical to some degree to put him on trial and throw him into the wolves basically over impeachment, and then to kind of just brush it to the side like we have with Maxine Waters? Thank you very much.
So it's been a few weeks since we've had a show.
Yes.
So these are.
I can pull up that video of what she said.
Great.
Yeah, it's still in here. So this is what Maxine Waters says. Let me make sure it still works here.
I am very hopeful, and I hope that we're going to get a verdict that is say guilty, guilty, guilty. And if we don't, we cannot go away.
And not just manslaughter, right? I mean...
Oh, no, not manslaughter. No. This is guilty for murder. I don't know whether it's in the first degree, but as far as I'm concerned, it's first degree.
Congresswoman, what happens if we do not get what you just told? What should the people do? What should protesters on the street do?
I didn't hear you.
What happens? What should protesters do?
Well, we got to stay on the street, and we've got to get more active. We've got to get more confrontational. We've got to make sure that they know that we mean business.
So, applying the same standard here, many people will look at that and say, well, she didn't flat out say, well, you need to riot and burn things down and you need to threaten people. Neither did Trump.
Neither did Trump. And Trump actually said, to protest peacefully.
He did throw a peacefully in there. There was a lot of other provocative stuff, but he did say peacefully.
There was, but he said peacefully. He threw it in. He said when you go to protest peacefully. Protest peacefully. It's kind of George Bushy, like original.
I was going to say, when you protest peacefully. People say to protest not peacefully. I'm not gonna do it.
Read my lips. No new taxes. 1,000 points of light.
1,000 points of light. So yeah, I mean, by the same standards, yeah.
By the same standards, yes.
Yeah.
She should be prosecuted. There's going to be I think that there's going to be a whole different set of issues with. You had the juror number, I don't know, who was photographed at BLM protests wearing BLM shirts and hats and like that said, get your knee off my neck. Like things like that are going to cause a mistrial just as much as the Maxine Waters.
Very potentially, yeah.
Yeah, and you are going to have, or at least have an appeal on it. Not a mistrial. It's not a mistrial. Right?
Yeah, they're not going to do a mistrial, and
right. You're going to get the appeal though.
He will get his appeal. Just there's enough stuff on there to entertain an appeal more than likely. I would be surprised if they didn't. I don't think he's going to be found not guilty because the evidence was there. I mean, we had Matt Hicks on to talk about that. Like they don't have any viable evidence of why you would vote not guilty. They don't have anything. They had, well, he used drugs. Okay, get your knee off his neck. Well, he had previously been resisting. Okay, he's not now. He didn't, and I had Seth Stoughton, who was the one of the expert witnesses in that trial. Derek Chauvin continued to keep his knee on George Floyd's neck for roughly 2 minutes after he was told that there was no pulse. People without pulses can't resist, much less cause you any physical harm. So there was no reason to continue this. But could it lead to an appeal just because of some of the also, this is what happens when you have the trial right there. There was no way to move that. And yes, there's going to be people with opinions on this everywhere, but right there.
Like, so I understood what the judges, I kind of understood the judge's point when they talked about moving the trial. And he said, because you have to have it in Minnesota. It had to be in the state. And he said, it doesn't matter where you go. This is going to be like, and I don't know if he used the word tainted, but he said your jury, like, I think he said like your jury pool is going to be tainted anywhere you go. It doesn't matter. Everybody has an opinion on this already.
That's true. That is true. But man, right there, like right in Minneapolis, I get it. I get it. There's also the infrastructure of where do you have that trial with all the security needs and everything else. And Minneapolis might be the only place in the state that can even do that. So, yeah.
And the other issue that he may have been thinking of, like, let's say they went to Duluth, Minnesota. I don't know if that's a real city in Minnesota.
I believe you just came up with a real city in Minnesota.
Okay, so let's say they went to. I hope.
Yeah, in fact, we were originally going to do an event in Duluth, but we ended up not being able to do it. So yes, Duluth, Minnesota is a real place.
Is it near Minneapolis?
I believe it's a couple hours away from it. It's further north of it.
Yeah,
okay.
Good enough. That's actually perfect. Like if it went to Duluth and the jury up there voted not guilty, the city of Minneapolis would have burned. Yeah. And they would have said, you didn't have the trial here. Why didn't you have the trial here?
Yeah, so it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't type of thing. But I think honestly, just, what Maxine Waters said is enough to possibly. The judge said, you guys just got yourself an appeal.
Between Maxine Waters, between Joe Biden, between the juror, you definitely have an appeal. I don't know if it changes the outcome. I could see it. I could see it changing the outcome just because always thinking that Big Get Shane Sweeney posted something right before that trial ended, and he said, "Yeah, we always think that we have that moment where the cops are going to get repercussions for the actions.
Right.
And how many times have we looked for it? And how many times has it come through? And it's like never. Like it never happens.
Or very, very rarely.
Very rare. Right. Like at least in the trials that we all know about that make it to the news, it never happens.
Yeah.
So, except in this case. Now, if they
and the scent
could be taken away. It could be taken away just because. Like, and I have that fear that will happen.
And his sentencing's in just over a month, and who knows what's going to happen there. We shall see. So here's another one, but it's written time. If they did that, holy crap! Buy stock in kerosene. If they gave him time, holy crap! If they gave him time served, don't go outside for 14 days. Holy hell! This one's the exact same. I think this might be a duplicate, but let's play it just in case.
Hey, Spike. Hey, Matt. Just a real quick question I have for you all. Given what we have found out about the Chauvin trial.
Yeah, that's the same one. Okay. So then here is one more.
What was his name?
Brian Clary.
Brian, I hope that you have gotten over the COVID since you left those messages.
Usually we do ASMR later in the show.
Because you sound a little sniffly.
Stuffy.
A little stuffy. So
I
hope
stuffy.
Yeah. And Andrea O'Donnell says to invest in brick makers. Yes, that's also a good one.
Yes, brick makers and soup cans. Campbell's soup for my family. So here's one. Here's the last one for the day from James M. Ray.
Hi, Spike and guy on left. This is James M. Ray calling in on the Chris Reynolds personal injury attorney at law anchor call-in moment. God, I think I said that right. Anyway, I am calling about one of our kind who has been sadly neglected and ignored while we screech at each other. And his name is John McAfee. He has paid more federal taxes than probably every single person on your friends list combined. And even though he's probably not the perfect libertarian, he's damn well good enough for me, and he's a lot of fun to drink with. So we should start organizing against the Spaniards to get them to release him from that fucking cage. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
The Spaniards.
Yeah, John McAfee, he's locked up in Spain for tax evasion here, right?
Yeah, for tax evasion here. And so you guys want to talk about tyranny. Imagine if there were a country that had a law that said that if your country wants to participate in any kind of financial dealings in our country, all of your banks have to report anything from American citizens to our revenue agency, our IRS. And if we determine that anyone in your country of any citizenship commits any crime related to taxes, you have to hold them in a jail in your country until we decide what we want to do with them. Indefinitely, like Gitmo style. Even if your country has very strict rules about due process and how long someone can be held without a trial and habeas corpus laws and all that, no, you got to throw all that out the window and hold someone indefinitely for our laws. That's called FATCA, F-A-T-C-A, and it is a law in the books in the United States Code of Laws. It is a law that applies to other countries. It is a unilateral contract that no one else signed, and that they have only, it's unilateral in that It's unilateral two ways. It's unilateral in that we, or our government, created this law without any input from any other country, and they have to abide by it even though they didn't agree to it. And if they don't get to participate. Neither they nor any of their citizens here or abroad or in their countries, get to participate in any kind of financial dealings in the United States.
Yep.
And that's why John McAfee is in prison, probably for the rest of his life, probably without trial or any kind of due process. So whatever you think of John McAfee, yes, FATCA, F-A-T-C-A, whatever you think of John McAfee, he is being held on the suspicion that he refused to be extorted for the rest of his life and probably will not get a chance to defend himself.
Nope.
And I get the people and they go, yeah, well, he probably killed that person in Belize or Belize. Okay, then he should serve trial for that. He should go through due process for that. Or he did all these really weird things that they said in that thing, Gringo, all that stuff. Well, if any of that was legal, most of it wasn't illegal, but it was kind of weird. But some of it was illegal. Then he should they should try him for that. He should get his day in court for that. Or, hey, I don't like him. Okay, well, then you don't have to. But this is someone who... And James made an excellent point. This is someone that has certainly paid more taxes than I ever have. Billions.
By a wide margin.
I think it's safe to say that possibly every other libertarian member of the party combined. Well, no, because there's that one guy. But most, with a few exceptions, have not not paid anything combined. And John McAfee, John McAfee should. I don't want to name people like, hey, who pays a lot of taxes. But
it's so funny how you said that.
So yeah, free John McAfee. I actually tweeted about that a couple months back and got a lot of pushback on it. Like, well, yeah, John did this, and John. Okay, great. Take it up with the Sierra Club if he did that to the whale. But that has nothing to do with what he's in jail in Spain for. Okay? Sue him with the international law of the sea. I don't know what to tell you. And John makes a compelling point about the whales. I mean, if they could kill you at any moment.
Yep.
If
they aren't getting you off of them, they don't mind you being there.
Like if or even no. It's a very uncomfortable conversation.
I watched
which we've had,
it was a very uncomfortable
which we've had on this show. It's why I was gifted a narwhal. Gonna have to go through the archives of the show for that one because I'm not. Yep, that's we're not talking about them. Definitely not rehashing that.
We have a fan who I won't name. I know he's not watching this episode, but we have a fan who is currently. He started at episode 1 about 2 months ago.
Oh my God.
And he is going through in order because he has this sense of completion. And he's going to listen to this in like 4 weeks when he finally catches up. Because apparently all he does is listen to us. And he was asking me questions. And I was like, that was...
Oh, about like episode 12 or something like that?
Yeah, I was like, man, that was so long ago. I don't know what happened to that. But he's going to hear that narwhal episode and he's going to stop listening right there.
I would stop listening after that because that was very uncomfortable. Meg Jones. Yes, Meg. If anyone has a reason to be mad at John McAfee, it's me because he doesn't even know who I am. He thinks I'm some schmuck on a bus. That happened. That was a special episode of the Chris and Spikey show. We interviewed John McAfee while I'm campaigning. I'm on the Jorgensen Cohen bus, and I'm sitting there, obviously on a campaign bus in the background, right? And he's going, I don't know why anyone would want to run for office. What kind of idiot would do that in this climate? Just a schwein. I'm like, yeah.
Ran for office multiple times in the Libertarian Party.
It was the words of someone who lost, but whatever. And he says,
that's what I'm saying. He ran for office.
I beat him.
You did.
He was running for the vice presidential nomination. How do you not know the person that beat you? And if it were anyone else, I would say, no way, you're just faking this. You know who I am. I beat you. Look at me. I beat you. No, I strongly believe John McAfee has no clue who I am, even though I have interviewed him multiple times on multiple shows.
So we have multiple people are saying they want to go back and listen from the beginning. Now, many of you may not know this because you're kind of new to this program. The beginning's rough to get through, and there is I'm like the Jewish calendar, is in I never stopped counting, and there is a pre-spike and in the year of spike and year of spike. Yes. You got AS and PS, and then I'm the Jewish calendar where I just go through the entire thing.
Wow.
You may want to you may just want to skip to like 72 or whatever your first one.
Yeah, what was the first episode of me? Well, there was one that I guessed. So previously, the Muddy Waters Media was started by Matt and our friend Mohammed Shaker, and I came on to do my show, My Fellow Americans, sometime. July 4th was my first episode in 2018. And then about 3 months later, Muhammad decided to take a hiatus,
that was like
which
4
ended up
hours long.
So you got a treat waiting for you there. 4 hours about the how the founders lied to you, or how you were lied to about the founders, because the founders didn't say anything to you.
I watched
they're dead.
Most of that.
Yeah, that was 4 hours. And then the next episode was 4 hours, and I thought, I don't want to do this. So then they became 3 hours. They've lessened in size over time. I've learned how to be a little bit more choosy in my questions. So then in September or October of 2018, I took over for Muhammad as the co-host. But a year before that, I was a guest host for a time that Muhammad wasn't able to make it.
That was in November.
Yeah, November of 2017. Yeah. So this is So yeah. Yeah. No, there's. So if you go all the way back, they're not bad episodes. They just don't have me in it. They have Muhammad in it. They have Mo in it.
Right. You'll also get episodes with former people who worked for us for a week and then got better jobs.
We try to tell, and this keeps happening. We keep having people every time I put up, hey, who wants to help us? And when we have someone that helps us, and then they immediately get a good job, and it's like
they do. Yeah,
good for you.
I'm intern. She wasn't really an intern. She was. I don't remember what we called her. She was fantastic. Like, she did so much work for us for a wonderful price, free. And she went
for
to
1 week, not even.
She was here for like 1 week, and then she got a job making just really. I didn't blame her for leaving us, since we weren't paying her.
Yeah, listen, I can do a rewarding career for good money, or I can do this. I guess it's rewarding. I feel fulfilled, but it's $0.
I'll say her name. Her name's Taylor Hall.
Yeah.
I don't remember what her name used to be. She got married. But yeah, she was wonderful. I said she's still a wonderful person. And
she's great. Yeah, we're not angry.
Yeah, love her.
Glad that she got a good job.
Then we had
Davis.
Zuri Davis. We had
Zuri
Davis for a little bit, and she ended up getting a job with Reason. I think.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then we took a hiatus on it for a while,
Yeah.
and then
we had Ryan Raymond, and then he got a job, and
Ryan
or a
Raymond
better
got
job,
a
or he actually just got I think an increase in his responsibility at work,
right,
which I presume came with more money as well. So hey, guys, if you are looking to help us and you have any kind of experience with working on WordPress and websites and things like that, and you want a very quick moving up the corporate ladder that has, in theory, nothing to do with us, but just happens adjacent to us.
Joe Biden should include interning for us in his jobs plan.
Yes. Oh, wow. And that way, like, we could have a constant intern, and it'd be like, okay, well, yeah, I'm glad you became a millionaire now here next.
Right.
So if anyone,
really?
if anyone,
You're making $100
so
an hour? Good for you.
Nalik Trupp is saying, do you want anyone to help? If you'd like to help, if you have any experience with WordPress, we'd love to have you. And for however many days before you freaking become the CEO of the Alaskan oil. I forget if it's, and I even asked her, it's either Nalik or Nalik. I think it's Nalik. She's an Eskimo, so it's however you would say
that. Yeah, she's the Eskimo.
But like an actual Eskimo. Don't get angry. Don't at me.
Right.
Woke Twitter. Like literally, like she's a literal Eskimo.
Now, like if send a PM, DM, slide up into the DMs.
Slide up in our DMs.
And my personal ones, because I don't really check the Muddied Waters ones as much as I used to. When Facebook doesn't work on your phone anymore, you kind of cut that out. So slide up into my DMs and we can talk about it if that is something you are interested. And if anybody out there listening in the Muddied Verse who is just listening to us, send a message to Muddied Waters on Facebook. I promise I'll check it eventually.
Because even if we find someone to do it now, they're only going to be around for like a week or so before they go off to somebody become every single one of them gets a really, really, really good job or wins the lottery or something so, it's, if you want, that's when will you live stream to Clubhouse? Well, now that it's on Android a lot sooner.
I mean, can we?
I don't know how to use Clubhouse. I've never opened an account. So folks, I'm Spike Cohen on Clubhouse, and you can do whatever the hell you can with that. I don't know how that works. We're gonna get right on that. I'm gonna be Clubhousing any day now.
Yeah, I didn't know if we I knew that it just opened up to Android, and I was like, oh, that'd be cool to use. And I went, everything we do is computer based. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
But that'll be soon. That will be soon. So
that's coming down the pipeline.
So let's talk about, speaking of the pipeline. Hey, speaking of the pipeline, the Colonial pipeline, Matt, which transports about 45% of the fuel consumed on the East Coast, including South Carolina, where everyone lost their damn minds, shut down over the weekend due to a ransomware attack. Matt?
That's right. The attack stunned, shocked, bewildered the Biden administration and the energy industry. And we actually have footage from Joe Biden giving his message to the hackers who committed the offense.
And you ain't black.
Wait. What do you say?
And you ain't black.
Oh, wow.
And obviously, they thought that was a weird thing for him to say to hackers.
To say they're not black, yeah.
Yeah, So they asked him to explain it a little bit more, and we have this clip as well.
Not everybody in the community, in the Hispanic and the African American community, particularly in rural areas that are distant and or inner city districts, know how to get online.
You know, that joke spent most of my time doing these notes yesterday.
No, I can tell because you actually
Not everybody in the community,
actually
in the Hispanic and the African American.
You actually put Biden responds to questions. That's different font, but it
You know, I had to do.
It's good. No, it's good. It's good. So, President Biden and other administration officials on Monday highlighted the dominance of the private sector in owning and operated critical utilities, hinting at irritation around the government's lack of control, because that'll fix it.
That'll definitely fix it.
That'll fix it. Let's go make it like the World Trade Center.
We'll get into more examples later.
Joe Biden said, and this he really said, this is not a joke, my administration is also committed to safeguarding our critical infrastructure, much of which is privately owned and managed like Colonial. Private entities are making their own determinations on cybersecurity. Now, let's keep in mind, there has been one attack like this. One.
The Deputy National Security Advisor Elizabeth Sherwood Randall told reporters at the White House on Monday, this weekend's events put the spotlight on the fact that our nation's critical infrastructure is largely owned and operated by private sector companies. When those companies are attacked, they serve as the first line of defense, and we depend on the effectiveness of their defense. If somebody doesn't know where this is going, if anybody out there doesn't know where this is leading, hang in with us. We'll explain it later.
No.
Biden on Monday stressed that his administration took the hack extremely seriously, noting that he had been receiving daily briefings on the situation. And could you imagine explaining ransomware hacks to Joe Biden?
Yeah, I mean,
if somebody trying to explain it to me, like, I'm like, how does that work? What? Okay, why? And like, I still need like to be guided through that a little bit. I could not imagine. Joe Biden.
I mean, whatever you explain to him, you'd have to say it again 20 minutes later. So there's that as well. Now, Biden and Sherwood Randall, they're putting a lot of blame on private industry and their lack of security, and what will almost assuredly lead to calls for nationalization of the industry, which is really what they've been pushing for years. Right. All these subsidies, all these attacks on nuclear, all these attacks on actual other alternative forms of energy, and getting everyone all hobby-horsed into solar and wind, which are nowhere near being able to power our grid, which means it just leaves oil. We do have a response from Joe Biden regarding the possibility of nationalizing the oil and gas industry.
And I had a nurse at nurses at Walter Reed Hospital who would bend down and whisper in my ear. Wow. And go home and get me pillows. They would make sure they'd actually, probably nothing ever taught in, you can't do it in the COVID time, but they'd actually breathe in my nostrils to make me move, to get me moving.
So the way that I see this is that much like whenever there is a mass shooting or any sort of gun violence,
school shooting,
gun violence is an epidemic. But they're going to use this to springboard to push for greater government control on security of corporations and potentially ownership of industries, just like they do with guns. And that is, like Spike said earlier, what they have been pushing for this entire time.
Yep.
These sort of things are 100% what they are going to be going for, and what they're going to use in order to try to go in order to try to move that narrative forward, is they're going to be using the everything is infrastructure narrative that they've already been pushing with the new infrastructure bill.
You can already see the tweets. I'm sure I can already see them in my head. Securing our oil infrastructure, oil pipelines is infrastructure. Like it's right in there, and the sheep will run with it in both parties. Josh Hawley today was saying, "This is the perfect example. We have to do this. We have to deal with this, or it's just gonna. This is our jugular, and we've got to protect our jugular." They're going to push so hard for either nationalization of the industries or just outright control of their security apparatus, which. Oh, I'm sure that'll make it better. In fact, let's see, what's this chick's name? Ann Newberger says, we want to see ransomware not be successful, and that begins with greater resilience, particularly in critical infrastructure networks. That is Biden's Deputy National Security Advisor for Cyber and Emerging Technology told reporters. Now, Matt, it's a really good thing that the federal government hasn't dealt with any hacks that people could use against them, right?
Right. I mean, luckily that has never... Wait. There was that one... last year that Joe Biden recently put sanctions on Russia for doing the SolarWinds hack that successfully breached 9 federal agencies for almost a year. Going through the Microsoft system and their Exchange email.
A year. This thing happened for a couple days once. So they're going to push for agency control of this when they screwed up for over a year or almost a year, multiple agencies.
Right. They are going to continue to say the federal government needs to be in charge, and they're going to start out with the security, and they're going to say that's part of the infrastructure, and then they're eventually going to say that the pipelines are infrastructure, so it should just be owned by the federal government, and they are going to try to nationalize the oil and complete energy industry. And if I could come up with an example of where that didn't work real great, Venezuela.
Mexico. Let's talk about Mexico. Mexico had their energy prices go up and their security issues go up when they took over there were 3 main energy companies, and they were consolidated and nationalized into Pemeco, I think it's called, and everything got worse there for everyone because the federal government's a really bad way of doing things. And really anything, but especially this kind of stuff. That's not what they're for, and they're not good at it. They're not good at anything else either. But this is, and people will say, well, but security is what the federal government's supposed to do. No, that's actually not what the Constitution says. The Constitution doesn't say the federal government is to provide security for private interests or take over industries. It doesn't say any of that at all. And this is not a good use of the government because they're not good at security, especially cybersecurity. They're actually uniquely terrible at it considering how big of an organization they are. They're worse than any other large organization at this because they're so old and decrepit and don't have to provide value and don't have to keep up with the times and can force everyone to do things against their will, even if it's stupid. But that doesn't work with hackers because hackers do what they want. This is a really, really, really bad idea. Kenneth Ebel says, are you suggesting that the government is corrupt? Far be it for me to ever suggest anything like that. But it's Pemex. That's what it's called. This is a big problem. Putting aside the fact that if you thought that oil prices weren't going up enough already, let's nationalize them. But if this becomes the new narrative, and we're seeing it across the board, that private companies can't possibly secure themselves, we need an organization that routinely gets hacked all the time to be in charge of it because they're the government, so we have to assume they're better at it, right? Since we recognize they're not good at anything, Clearly, they'll be good at this. This, by the way, is the cognitive dissonance with the American voter. So if you sit down with the American voter and ask how the government's doing with schools, they'll go, government sucks at schools. They're screwing this up. They're screwing that up. They're, these test standards, and the kids are getting dumber and dumber, and, all this stuff. And then if you ask them, well, how do you think the government's doing with healthcare? Oh, the government's ruining healthcare. The cost of healthcare is going through the roof. I can't even afford healthcare. How do you think government's going with Social Security? I haven't had an increase in my Social Security in 3 years. Blah, 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 blah. There's what a absolute Ponzi scheme of a plan. But well, what do you think about the security thing? Well, the problem is that the government should be doing it because these private industries can't possibly do it themselves.
Yep, exactly. It is absolutely mind-boggling to me how many people will. One you forgot that I thought you were going to hit was the VA. How's the government?
Oh, the VA. Yep.
Right. That one I thought you were going to hit, like, because that was the one I had in my brain when I was writing this out and thinking about things to talk about. I was like, people will say that they do a terrible job at the VA, and but they'll say that the government needs to be in charge of healthcare, and they're going to say that they need to be in charge of the security of private industry. And no, they don't, because they don't do anything right unless their job is to mess everything up, in which case they do it all correctly.
What about Matt Ferraro brought up the fact that they had one of the organizations that was hacked has they lost 8 nukes, nuclear weapons. They lost nuclear weapons. Hey, where'd my nuclear weapons go? 8 of them. This is the organization that's going to protect you. The We Lost 8 Nuclear Weapons organization. Whatever you think about what's happening on the border, we were talking to Chris earlier, whether you are in favor of more immigration or less immigration or streamlining the current system or open borders or closed borders, whatever you want, we all kind of universally recognize that the crisis on the border is an absolute mess and the government has completely screwed it up, right? Pretty much whichever side you are on this. Clearly, they should be in charge of every single company's private security, cybersecurity. That will definitely... No way that could end in an absolute clusterfuck where they have run up billions of dollars, things get worse, then they blame it on the fact that they don't get enough money, because we haven't heard that from government before, right? Oh, the problem's, it's not us, it's that we haven't gotten enough funding for our critical infrastructure. And so they get more money, and it doesn't fix it. I hope Vermin has the nukes, honestly.
Right.
I hope he does.
I read earlier today, and I'm going to preface this with saying I did not fact check this because I did not have time, which is why we didn't actually talk about it in the show. But the Pentagon recently lost $21 trillion. And I was like, that seems high.
Yep.
And, that's, how much are we in debt? 32 trillion, I think.
Yep.
I'm not even 100% sure what it is anymore. So I feel as though I kind of feel as though the debt is their fault and they shouldn't be asking us to pay for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I agree with that. So there's another topic. We're not going to get into it too deeply, but just to give an idea of what happens when you put the government in charge of something. Yeah.
That I didn't delete. Okay.
Yeah. I'm just going to bring it up.
Just
ICE, the organization that, and you guys can look this up after the show's over, because we didn't put it in the show. We didn't want it to go too long. But ICE made a fake university to scam people out of money. And it was targeted to people who they were here illegally, but it also scammed some people who weren't here illegally, who thought that it was actually a good, legitimate university.
Those people got their money back, though.
Oh, well, that's okay. Well, at least they got their money back.
Right. Yeah, that's what, so when the people that were here illegally, they applied for this university that ICE created, and they got accepted. They sent their money, and that was how they got found. And then they got arrested, and then they were sent back, and they did not get a refund on that money.
Yeah. Which is, by the way, that's fraud. And it's still illegal even if the people are here illegally. If you defraud someone who's here illegally, you're going to get in trouble for it if it gets reported and they have evidence of it. So for all the people that are saying, well, they weren't here illegally, it doesn't matter. If you say, oh, they need to follow the law, ICE broke the law.
Right.
It's illegal to defraud people.
Somebody actually brought this up in the comments. Yes, this happened back in March. It was March 26th is when this came out.
Yep.
This was part of a larger refugee thing we were going to do last week.
Yep.
But Biden, the reason we were going to bring it up last week is because Biden defended ICE in this instance.
Yeah.
And other things that he did in his first 100 days before he increased the number of refugees that were allowed into 62,500 was he broke a campaign promise to halt the confiscation of private property for border wall construction, which he did.
Yes.
He made certain parts of the asylum system even more restrictive than his predecessor. Yep, did that. And defended ICE defended ICE in court after the agency erected a fake university, defrauded immigrants out of the tuition money, and deported them without refunds. This man does not actually care about immigrants and does not care about refugees. Yes, he is increasing the number, but that is to placate his voters. It is not in any way, shape, or form because he cares about the refugees and the immigrants that are coming in from other nations. He is doing this only because when he didn't do it, he got hit so hard on social media and he had to do something. He said, okay, well, this is what I'm going to do. My vice president, who is in charge of the border crisis, who hasn't gone down there since she has been put in charge of it, isn't doing anything. I need to do something. Let's increase the number of people that are allowed in. They're still going to have to go to those camps. They're still going to have to go to I don't remember what they're calling them now because they've changed the names on them so many times.
Shelters. They're shelters that you have to go to,
okay.
And they look a lot like camps, but they are in fact now shelters. They're the exact same buildings that Trump used, and they have even more people in them now and an even larger proportion of children, but they're shelters now.
Right.
Also, he didn't increase the number of people that are coming here. He just increased the cap. But he also made the actual asylum process more restrictive. So in theory, there might even be less people who are able to be allowed in. And again, they were all in camps in the meantime. And he defended, not just does he not care about immigrants or refugees or asylum seekers, he doesn't care about the law. Because ICE made a fake university to scam people and took their money, never gave it back, and he defended that.
He defended it.
And he wrote all the laws that have led to the border crisis. He was one of the co-writers of those laws. That's your president.
That is your president. And yes, I know many of you did not vote for him. Oh, I do have the link in there. I don't believe I have the link in there still. Here, I'm going to put the link into the comments. Nope. Maybe. I don't know if that's going to work.
Hold on.
I'm not trying. I'm trying to do this on something that
here. Hold on. I can do it. Hold on.
Okay, cool.
Here's the link. That's President Biden right there. Yep. That's President Biden defending that. So
if you can hack a pipeline, you can hack an election. That's like dodgeball. So, you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
So tomorrow on my show, actually, since we're name dropping, tomorrow I will be on Kennedy at 8. So we're starting at 8. And I don't know what we're talking about yet. I think I'm on a panel again, but I will be on Kennedy tomorrow starting at 8. And then immediately after Kennedy, join me at 9 o'clock right here on the, what is this show called? On My Fellow Americans. My guest will be Courtney Cahill. She is a professor of law. I've had a lot of law professors recently.
You have had a lot of law professors.
I'm very mainstream now. I got law professors on my show. But she is a law professor at the, it's not here. It's in Florida. It's in Tallahassee, whatever the School of Law there is in Tallahassee, Florida. And we're going to be talking about some of these trans sports bills that are being passed, and trans healthcare bills that are being passed. The supporters are saying that they're protecting women and children. The detractors are saying that they're discriminating against trans people, and that the definitions they're using are on very, very shaky ground, so they'll probably end up getting thrown out anyway. That part's probably true, whether you support it or not. But we're going to be talking about these trans bills, why they're happening now, what's going to happen as a result of it, what should the libertarian position be on it, because there's a lot of disagreement among libertarians on whether these bills are good or bad. So we're going to have Courtney, Professor Cahill, on to talk about that. And then who is your guest on Writer's Block, Matt?
You know, you are not going to believe who my guest is or isn't. So you're going to have to tune in on Thursday. And if I am live, I have a guest that you are going to
guest.
Love.
I believe it, and I'm so excited about it. I will be on my way to California for the Libertarian Party of California convention. I will be there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the 14th, 15th, and 16th. So come on out and meet me. If you go to, what is their website, lpcalifornia.org, you can sign up today tonight to be a part of that convention. I'd love to meet you out there. I'm going to be opening the proceedings. I'm also doing a speech. I'm doing all sorts of stuff. I pretty much just float around the whole time. Even if I'm not giving a speech, I'm walking around talking with people, being a part of the workshops, and I make myself very present at these things because people paid good money to come out and see me and be a part of everything that we're doing. So go to lpcalifornia.org and find out how you can register, and I'd love to see you there this weekend. And then join us right back here next Tuesday, same muddied place, same muddied time, for the next fantastic episode of the Muddy Waters of Freedom, where Matt Wright and I parse through the week's events like the sweet little 2020 Wonder Boys we are. Our guest is Brody Anderson, who was just elected to a 6-year term at the River Valley District Library Board of Trustees. 6-year term for that board. You know what they say? Once you are in the River Valley Board of Library Trustees, you never leave. It's my favorite political saying.
And if you are going to be donating to the Libertarian Party of California's convention, I think it's just $10 and you get to pick Spike's name on his badge. Everybody vote for hashtag Guy on Left's Friend.
Yes, that's in there too. If you go to lpcalifornia.org and go to their event page, they have a link where you can decide what my name tag says.
Hashtag
right now,
Guy on Left's Friend.
Right now, protector of unloved animals is the leader. You can change that if you want to by going to lpcalifornia.org. So
hashtag
Matt,
Guy on Left's Friend.
Hashtag Guy on Left's Friend. So Matt, if you are looking to be a part of the Muddy Waters experience and to experience us on the internet, how can
outside
someone do
of
that?
how
Is
you're
that even
doing it
possible?
right now?
Yes. Outside of this, yes.
Outside of how you are listening to us or watching us at this very moment. Yes, you can. As a matter of fact, you can head on over, if you are one of those old school people who just really enjoy the sounds of the dulcet, tepid, sultry sounds of our voices, you can just head on over to anchor.fm/muddied waters.
Yes, we had Muddy Waters. Hey, hold on. Okay, there's the thing right there.
There you go. You need to have the mic in this. There you go. Visit anchor.fm/muddied waters.
I thought it was further up.
And you can leave us messages that we will play live on the air.
Hey, we love you. Give us money.
We do. We love all of you. We love all of you equally. Just some of you are more equal than others.
The more money you give us, the more the level of love we have for you is directly proportionate to the amount of money you give us.
Yes. You can also donate money and leave messages and we'll play them live on the air. And you can also favorite us and you can share directly directly
can you favorite us now? Favorite us on Anchor.
You can favorite us on Anchor at anchor.fm/muddiedwaters. And you can share it to all of your friends on Twitter or Facebook or other social media sites.
Whatever. You can text them with the information or you can email them too.
Yes, you can absolutely do all of that. Or you can find this and every other episode at muddiedwatersmedia.com.
Well, that settles it. That's where I'm going immediately after this. So, folks, thanks so much for tuning in. We will see you here tomorrow for Right After Kennedy for My Fellow Americans. We will probably see you on Thursday for the Writer's Block. I will hopefully see you this weekend at the Libertarian Party of California convention. And then we will see you right back here next week for the Muddy Waters of Freedom. Folks, thanks so much for tuning in. We love you. And wait, and where we're going...
We don't need roads.
Madam Speaker, the President of the United States.
You know the name. Come on, man. I know a lot of weed folks. Taking cocaine or not, what do you think? Get up. Americans always get up. That's what we're doing. Get up. Americans always get up. Think about it. Get up. Americans always get up. That's all I'm asking. Get up. Americans always get up. It's us, we the people. We have to do more than just build back better. To build back, we have to build back better. Think about it. I want to speak directly to you because you think about it. There's still more work to do. The sun is setting on American democracy. They look at the image of the mob as proof, but they're wrong. You know it, I know it, but we have to prove them wrong. 100 days ago, America's house was on fire. 100 days ago, one day shy, the 100th day of my administration. Get up. Americans always get up. That's what we're doing. Get up. Americans always get up. Think about it. Get up. Americans always get up. That's all I'm asking. Get up. Americans always get up. It's us, we the people. Folks, as I told every world leader I've ever met with over the years, it's never, ever, ever been a good bet to bet against America, and it still isn't. Think about it. We're working again, dreaming again. That's all I'm asking. Think about it. Discovering again, leading the world again. We the people. Because you think about it. 100 days ago, America's house was on fire. 100 days ago, one day shy, the 100th day of my administration. Get up. Americans always get up. That's what we're doing. Get up. Americans always get up. Think about it. Get up. Americans always get up. That's all I'm asking. Get up. Americans always get up. It's us, we the people. You